I demand to see my brother. Lay hands upon me, and you will lose them. You there! The territory of the Red Exiles shouldn't be traveled lightly. Ashlanders once respected each other, helped one another. You'd think these were house wolves or tribunal dogs, the way they treated me. Speaking of the tribunal, you have the smell of dog about you. I wonder why that is. Lord Vivek, is it? And I thought all the tribunal cared about was building monuments to their own greatness. Nice to see that one of them cares about what's going on beyond their borders. Well, perhaps we can. Ashlanders are nomads, but we gather at sacred sites to trade, confer, and pay homage to the past. Aldrin is such a place. That's why Chodala invited the Red Exiles here. But these outcasts won't let me into their camp. I need to find my brother. My brother, Chodala, is the Ashkan of our tribe, and I am his ambassador. I act as a go-between among the tribes. Chodala wants to unite the... Head into the Red Exiles camp and find my brother. Otherwise, see if you can find... Chodala went to meet with the Red Exiles lead. No, just our tribe, the Urshilaku, though he's respected by most of... You seem to have survived your visit to the Red Exiles camp. Did you find my... Interesting. I never suspected that the outcasts were disciplined enough to keep records such as this. Oh no. I can't believe my brother would be so... brazen. It means that Chodala really has changed. With his newfound powers and rising ambitions, I fear what he plans for the tribes. I suppose you have a right to know what I'm talking about. Take this. I found it among my brother's possessions. Chodala discovered new power out in the wilderness, and it changed his view of the world. He writes about it in that document. Now he believes he's... You don't know? I thought... No, you're not an Ashlander. And the House Elves rarely talk about such things. Long ago, so our legends say, Nerevar united the Kaima and forged an alliance with the Dwemer. He died at the Battle of Red Mountain. We believe the Tribunal hastened his demise, despite Vivek's claims to the contrary. The Nerevarine is a promise and a prophecy. We believe that, through the power of Azura, Nerevar will return to unite all Dunmer, House and Ashlander alike, and make Morrowind great again. The returned Nerevar will be known as the Nerevarine. While the prophecy of the Nerevarine can be interpreted as the end of the Tribunal, I have always seen it as a prediction of hope and peace. He uses in Ashkon's words to plant dark ideas in his followers. Ideas that speak of false gods, lost...
I really had to work my... farther away. That's probably a good idea. I can take you as far as Nisus or Telmora. Do either of those locations looking to get out of Vivek City? Smart decision. I could use some time away myself. I can take you to Suran or Balmora. They're fairly close. Do either of those locations interest you?
Keep your weapons sheathed, citizen. The situation is well in hand, I assure you. Bandits, I wish all my work were this simple. I'm investigating some irregularities in Suran's justice system. The town's lead constable, Marshal Halaran, may be arresting people without cause. I pray that I'm wrong, but I could use an ally. So you'll help? Excellent. I need evidence, testimony. Many of the Marshal's prisoners are toiling on plantations outside Suran. Talk to them. Gather some proof of Halaran's corruption. Then meet me at Ulis Manor. The plantations are crawling with iron-howled mercenaries. I'll draw them away as best I can, but do hurry. They won't leave their posts for long. Ah, you must be a recent arrival. I am called the Scarlet Judge, vanquisher of evil and guardian of the oppressed. I am this island's protector, bound by oath to avenge injustice and safeguard the helpless. No, my oath is of a personal nature. I revere the three, but my relationship with the rulers of Vardenfell is complex. Ordinators are bound by restrictive temple law. It makes them slow to action, clumsy. I have no such restrictions. I've been called savior and menace, hero and villain. If you'd call me a vigilante, then so be it. My only concern is the lives and welfare of those I protect. Wherever Vardenfell's laws cannot or will not act against injustice, there you will find me. Cold-hearted mercenaries, swords for hire without virtue or scruple. They serve the plantation other than the fact that she's in charge of the constabulary. This is a Redoran city. House Redoran demands certainty in all things. Halaran's deputies won't sanction an arrest unless there is overwhelming evidence. We have no proof, only suspicion. Yes, precisely. House Redoran does not suffer this kind of misconduct lightly. Once we prove Halaran...
Not you too. This is ridiculous.
I'm sorry, Talimra, but my wife insists we try.
What is it? Rosie, where are you? Come back, Rosie. Oh, citizen.
Such displeasure and disappointment. Nothing works, even though every calculation is precise. Now an interruption. How infuriating. Wait. Divine energy. I'll have you know I participated in Lord Sotha Seal's 9 analyses of the exalted enigmas. But we have more important matters. I'm about to determine the correlation between color and time, and I could use another set of hands. A reciprocal exchange. Interesting, yes. I can see the benefits of such an arrangement. Very well. Just activate the crystals in the proper sequence while I modulate the energy flow. Less chance of an explosion that way. Such a waste repeating words. Activate the crystals in the proper order. It's all about colors, like a rainbow. Make a mistake and reset the mechanism using that lever, unless it explodes. You'd be surprised how often that happens. One more to go. Yes, I love it when the gears align. Perfect. Such are the benefits of an extra set of appendages. The energy flows freely and without disruption, allowing the rods and the pistons to align in a most pleasing manner. Thank you. Now, scent. How intriguing. I was just thinking about my former master, Sotha Seal, and the experiments we conducted. He desperately sought to understand the power he and his companions attained, especially whether or not that power was temporary. Not while I assisted him. He had a tool that he used to drain away minute bits of his own divine energy to store and study. He could extract it and return it as he saw fit. Not sure what became of the tool, but here are my notes from those days. More questions? Well, Lord Sotha Seal attributed curiosity to intellectual superiority. Suppose I should do the same. Ask, and I will attempt to tighten the cogs of your ongoing education as best I can. Odd question. Is a hammer a weapon? A saw? A Dwemer spring spanner? No, it was just a tool. A device crafted by Sotha Seal to aid in his endless experiments. Haven't a clue. Tools have a way of wandering off when you don't stay vigilant. Had a guar that used to swallow tools when I wasn't looking. Glowed for a month until the enchantment dissipated and the tool passed. Should have heard the screams. I was his apprentice, but that was years ago. Spent time working in the Clockwork City. That's what I learned about energy transference, Dwemer engineering, mechanical symmetry. Made me the dark elf I am today. The Archcanon. Lord Vivek's High Priest. Suddenly the gears align. I can think of a number of reasons that Alm and V would want to know about C and his tools, but some doors just shouldn't be opened. He's the father of mysteries, and the architect of time, one of the Tribunal, the 3 living gods of the Dark Elves. Creates all sorts of helpful and intriguing devices, like the Clockwork City. It's a wonder and a miracle. All brass tunnels, glass domes, and giant gears. He was inspired by the work of the Dwemer. The Clockwork City is pure Sotha Seal. Odd question.
Outlander, over here!
This requires a considerable amount of effort, so just listen. We have a problem here. Return to my office immediately. At last. Did you see what's happening outside? Red Mountain rumbles louder and more frequently. The sky grows dark, and worst of all, the people are beginning to notice. Soon, in part, Lord Vivek is not well. I won't allow his followers to see him in this state. He continues to lose energy, and it's becoming difficult for him to maintain the realm in his usual fashion. Now, what did your investigations uncover? I'll review these documents and present your findings to Lord Vivek. I was against bringing you into this investigation, but I was wrong. Thank you for aiding us. You should go see Lord Vivek now. He's been asking about you. I'll be along shortly. Very well. Tell me what you learned at each of the locations, and let's see what conclusions we can come to. Barrelzar faithfully served Sotha Sil. He's as loyal to the Tribunal as I am. He would never intentionally harm Lord Vivek. But that tool he mentioned... Perhaps one of the priests Vivek sent away could search the temple archives for more information. Lord Vivek doesn't want his followers to see him in such a weakened state. Only you, Canon Levuel, and myself are permitted into his palace now. Speaking of the palace, Lord Vivek wants to see you when we're done here. So your notes say, and this Saren assisted you. Interesting. Most Ashlanders want nothing to do with the Tribunal. Even so, they rarely become aggressive. I'd say this Chodala bears watching. If we can spare it, I'll send an armiger to order it. Interesting theory. Perhaps Chodala's staff can steal Vivek's energy. I have a hard time imagining how an Ashlander could accomplish such a feat. Lord Vivek said the draining has grown more intense since you left. It doesn't look well. From what you discovered, I dare say there may be a correlation between the narcotic relic and the tool Barrelzowl mentioned. And it seems the Ashlander thieves are connected to Chodala. So it appears. Lord Vivek's doing his best not to complain, but I can see how much the draining...
I need to see Lord Vivek.
Lord Vivek isn't receiving visitors today. My lord, please let me send for aid. Perhaps one of the healers can help you.
Pain is best tolerated in private. As I have written in the 37th ballad.
There must be something I can do.
You can call the Archcanon. He should hear the news our friend brings us. The river The river drains into the sea as my divinity flows out of me. Need some work. As you can... An Ashlander? That seems unlikely, but I trust your instincts. We need to find out more about this Chodala and the ancient enemy that aids him. Take this. Another token of my appreciation. And look, here comes the Archcanon now.
My lord, the Outlander may have actually discovered something. After further examination of the documents you brought back, I have to agree with your assessment. Not exactly. But now that we know that the affliction isn't natural, we can work toward a solution. One that probably involves... Eventually. But we need to be cautious. Get to Alden and locate them. Didn't we cover this? Let me refresh your memory. Experience, Outlander. Experience. I have seen the Dunmer rage against the gods at the least provocation. When they realize that Vivek is ill, that his powers are failing, they'll weep and gnash their teeth like frightened children. The people don't handle the infirmities of their deities very well.
Ah, a fellow outside. Drelleth Hilaron of House Redoran at your service. Though I doubt I'll be very useful here. This is Ashlander country, and they've made it clear. I'm researching for my family's ancestral tomb, you see. My research led me here, to Aldrin. It's hard to believe, but I think my family may have settled here for a time. When I arrived, I immediately started asking questions. I was overzealous. Unfortunately, yes. I wonder if we might aid each other. Despite my missteps, I do know a great deal about Ashlander culture. I could help you earn their favor. In return, you could find out if... First, pay respect to Farseer Quanta. She walks the Red Path this year, and it's customary to wish her well. Request to take part in the offering to the first Ashkans. Do that, and you should be able to ask their wise woman about the tomb. You'll see a great bonfire in the middle of the camp. She'll be there. Look for the woman with the blind. Part of the ritual honoring her ascension from Farth. The annual pilgrimage to honor the fall of Scar, the great Emperor Crab. The Ashlanders claim their ancestors united to bring the beast down. They gather here to celebrate the victory and bring offerings to the cairns of the first Ashkans. You're a Dunmer. Do you not know the story? The first Ashkans were the fathers of the 4 great tribes. They brought the Velothi people together to kill Scar. The tribes often quarrel, but here they're family. I wish the houses had such a custom. Yes, the Hilaron ancestral tomb. My family's crypt has been lost for centuries. Most of my kinsmen gave up searching for it decades ago. They assume it's been destroyed or lies too deeply buried, but I remain optimistic. I discovered a tablet hidden away in an ancient Velothi temple. It contained a cryptic reference to my family. In the shadow of Scar, we found our home. The Ashlanders call the last Emperor Crab Scar, so the tomb must be nearby. The tribes gather here every year beneath Scar to pay tribute to the first Ashkans.
What's that? Have you now? Then you have my thanks. Remarkable. You would honor our ancestors. Very well. I give you my blessing. You hesitate. For Ahemusa, an ashen fern. For Erebeninsum, the weapon of an exile slain by your hand. For Urshilaku, the bones of a Gwar returned to ash. And for Zainab, the hidden treasure of a Kwama queen. Yes, though becoming is a clumsy word for it. Every daughter of Veloth has worth. When we learn...
Outlander, quickly! This way! I've been thinking about my brother's claim that he's the NateVentures since we last spoke. No matter how I try, the word tastes false on my tongue. And now I fear he's about to convince the wise woman that his quest for power will benefit the... My brother is respected and revered. He has allies in all of the tribes, not to mention his personal Red Exiles. We have to proceed with caution. Respect the Ashlander customs and traditions. Anything else will lead to violence and bloodshed. We talked to my brother. Tried to convince him this isn't the way. Barring that, we make sure the wise woman doesn't get drawn into his madness. Whatever Chodala says or does, don't attack him. We don't need a war between the houses and the Ashlanders. The wise woman. I was hoping she'd be here.
You're too late, dear sister. Despite your protestations, the wise woman has gone to the Cave of the Incarnate to confirm my claim.
Brother, do you really want to pursue this dangerous course?
There was a time when you gave me your unconditional support, Seren. I miss those days.
My brother Chodala's about to do something foolish and dangerous. But by dusk and dawn, Azura put you... He's about to claim the title of the NateVentures and try to unite the Ashlander tribes gathered here. He already convinced the Red Exiles to support him. He's using them to... Wise woman Dovrasi, the most respected counselor and spirit guide this side of Red Mountain. She went to the Cavern of the Incarnate to meditate on Chodala's claim. If she confirms my brother... Agreed. But I dare not leave Chodala alone with the tribes. I feel the hand of Azura in all this. Go to the Cavern of the Incarnate. The caverns to the northeast of Aldrin, on the other side of the mountain. Hopefully, the rumbling and lava won't slow you down too much. Get to the cavern and talk to the wise woman. If she accepts Chodala's claim about the NateVentures... My brother isn't the first to believe he's Nerevar returned. All of the previous failed incarnates rest within the cavern. A statue of Azura watches over them. Azura proclaimed that someday, Indorel Nerevar, a hero from our ancient past, would return to unite the Dark Elves and right the wrongs of Nirn. We call the returned incarnate the NateVentures. My brother Chodala believes that he's Nerevar reborn.
She won't refuse my claim. Just in case, make sure the Red Exiles are ready.
Your word is law, Nerevar.
Tales of make-believe may scare off gullible travelers, but not me. Those ruins belong to me now. My people will be cleansing this curse in no time.
You will only join Galgala's collection of puppets. If we see you again, we will assume you are a vessel of his and kill you on sight. You have been warned.
These Ashlanders and their wild superstition. They speak of spirits who take the bodies of mortals as their own, using them as puppets. Half-truths and exaggerated nonsense to scare off fools. Do I look like a fool to you? That was, a far-fetched tale, nothing more. I won't be scared off by stories of ghosts. Haunted or not, that's my land. You look more competent than the ghost hunters haven't the foggiest. My people will explain their needs when you find them. The details aren't my concern. I only care about results. Ensure they cleanse Valinvarion, the ruin east of here, and you'll be handsomely rewarded. Do we have a deal? Why are you still standing here? If I wanted to exchange gold for vacant stairs, I'd find a skooma den. Ask then. But badgering me isn't going to get you any closer to a... What's there to tell? They're old. They're ruined. A bunch of self-proclaimed...
Do not be fooled by the man outside. Galgala is not a spirit to be taken lightly. Galgala is a body shifter. Our wards would not allow... If we knew Galgala would not still exist, killing him while he occupies a vessel only frees his spirit. The only answer is...
Azura is my shield, you foul creatures. Thank you for aiding me, but I sense you came for a different purpose. Let's talk inside the cavern. An outlander? Surely there must be another way. No, my lady, of course not. I'll do as you want. Come here, outlander. We must talk. It feels strange to talk to an outlander in such a sacred place, but the Queen of the Night Sky insists. I need to render judgment on an important claim, and she says you can help me reach the correct decision. Words of truth from the mouth of an outlander. Remarkable. The Red Exiles and a few others believe that Chodala is the Neraverian. He's convinced them, but not me. I came here to consider my options. I fear a bloodbath if I oppose his claim. Perhaps, but I must remain impartial. If someone else reveals the flaws in Chodala's claims by comparing him to the failed incarnates, that might do the trick. We thought the incarnates were possessed by the spirit of Nerevar, but each had a critical flaw that made them destined to fail to fulfill the prophecy. Their spirits reside here. Yes, you should. Take this pouch of blessed grave dust. Sprinkle a pinch upon the bones of the incarnates to call forth their spirits. Return to Aldrin after you have learned all you can. We need knowledge to defeat Chodala, Outlander. Listen well to what the failed incarnates have to say.
Nerevarin remains a promise unfulfilled, and I am as guilty of prideful posturing as every other failed incarnate that occupies this hall. Ask your question and let's be done with this. The Nerevarin must listen as well as proclaim. I refuse to accept wise counsel, which led to the doom of my tribe and the end of my quest to embody the spirit of Nerevar. Take my scroll and remind the wise woman that wisdom ignored is ignorance.
Once I was the hope of my people, but then my claim was proven false. Now I wait, and I hope for the Nerevarion's return. State your question, Outlander, and I shall do as Azora urges. To fulfill the prophecy, I followed a path of blood and war. In the end, my path became a road that led nowhere, and I was cast down from my lofty.
We are the failed incarnates. The Ashlanders, who proudly proclaim themselves to be the Nerevaryon. Take my scroll, and help the wise woman see the lie of unbridled power. I thought myself the reborn Nerevar, for I was the...
Mortal, let us speak. I foresaw your usefulness before you even set foot in Vardenfell. Now comes a test that will challenge your ability to separate truth from lies. You must convince the tribes that Chodola is not the Nerevaryon. Doversee's wisdom outshines most other mortals. She recognizes the futility of Chodola's claim. If she rebuffs him, however, the tribes will turn on each other, and blood will flow. The staff, Sunra, it makes Chodola confident. Your instincts serve you well. Chodola's path took a dark turn. However, my sight clouds when I look too closely. Sothasil built Sunra, but he did not create it with this vile purpose in mind. You must act on my behalf, and Vivek's. Then go. Return to Aldrun and help the wise woman reveal the falsehood of Chodola's claim. And let Saren assist you. She is my champion and a trusted friend of all. Helping that arrogant imposter? Whatever gave you the idea that I was helping that murderer? Vardenfell must stand. Everything I do in this regard serves that single goal. Best use what the Incarnate shared with you. Their failures point the way toward Chodola's downfall. But beware Chodola's power. He may not be the Nerevaryon, but some greater agency has lent strength to his conviction. Due to an ancient pact, I am not permitted to interfere in the affairs of Nirn. Even this casual discussion pushes the boundaries of that agreement. Instead, I must work through trusted agents, such as yourself and Saren.
moon and star. You've returned. The wise woman returned from the cavern of the Incarnate and went right into Scar to meet with the tribes. Chodala's in there too, about to be named the NateVentures. Ah, of course. Use the tales of the failed Incarnates to counter Chodala's arguments. That's brilliant. Well, except for one problem. An Outlander has no status in the Council. The Ashlanders won't listen to a word you say. Someone else has to present the arguments. Someone they trust. I suppose that means I have to challenge my brother. With your help, of course. You spoke to the Incarnates, not me. I'm familiar with their stories, but I'll need you to help me choose the appropriate argument to counter each of Chodala's claims. Incarnate Runso was strong and powerful. He thought that by strength alone, he could unite the Ashlanders. He failed. Incarnate Adiri was a champion of my people. She defended us against great threats. But when she grew to love war for war's sake, she proved she wasn't the NateVentures. When Chodala proclaims that Incarnate Darnot thought his way was the best way. He rejected the counsel of the Wise Women and the Ashkans. Something Nerevar would never do. Meet me inside.
It's obvious that I'm the NateVentures.
To challenge your surgery.
I'm disappointed in you, dear sister.
Enough. I shall hear your arguments and render my decision.
Even the Outlander can see that I'm the most powerful Ashkan. My strength alone proves that I am the NateVentures.
Chodala puts forth his great strength as proof of his claim. Give me the scroll that discounts such a trait for the NateVentures. Yes, that's a sound argument. Incarnate, appear!
As a warrior and as an Ashkan, I was the most powerful of my age. But for all my strength, I failed my people. Don't follow my example.
The faithless houses dare to threaten our land, but we shall meet them in battle, and I will lead us to victory.
This is more nerve-wracking than I anticipated. Which scroll do you recommend to counter this argument? Of course. This doesn't look right. Time to pick the correct scroll. That makes...
Sister, is that the
Incarnate, appear!
The path to the NateVentures was a path of blood and battle, but my love of war was my undoing. War is not the way.
These failed incarnates prove nothing! I need no counsel but my own, as befits my status as the NateVentures.
I think it's working. Of course. Incarnate, appear!
I refuse to accept the counsel of the wise women of the Ashkans. I thought I knew best, but I knew nothing. That is not the way of the NateVentures.
Seren and the Outlander, their arguments have merit. Chodala, we deny your claim. You are not the NateVentures.
This proves nothing! Look how the staff protects me!
Brother,
I am the
no!
NateVentures! Red Exile, slay the unbelievers!
To the side!
Go to my hut and get my healer's sack. Now.
Right away, wise woman. My brother's become.
Mortal, I would have words with you. Chodola has been revealed as a failed Nerevarine, but that hasn't dissuaded him from his reckless course of action. As long as he wields the staff. Time is against you, mortal. Even now, Vivek, that pompous usurper, grows increasingly weaker. As much as I deplore him, Vivek cannot fall to Chodola's vile magic. There's another power at work here. One I can't quite put my finger on. Return to Vivek City. Do what you can to aid Vivek, and pay heed to my faithful vessel, Saren. I name her Champion of the Moon and Star. She will play a pivotal role in ending her brother's march toward godhood, if she survives.
That was exhilarating. That was glorious. Lady Azura's presence filled me with such wonder. She actually spoke through me. I heard everything she said, and I felt, and help you I shall. Return to Vivek City, while I track down my brother and his damnable staff.
Mountain's particularly active today.
As a god weakens, so too does his city suffer. I know my people grow fearful. Even the Archcanon is distressed. But the energy that remains to me holds the moonlit in the sky, at least for now. So what news does my eyes and ears bring to me? How this upstart Ashlander learned to attune Sotha Seal's tool confounds my understanding. And he dares use my power? Still, your help is appreciated. Every strike and parry takes us one step closer to ending this threat and restoring my vitality.
falls upon us to find a solution. Lord Vivek must conserve his remaining energy, so we need to solve this problem on our own. It all comes back to Chodala. That damned Ashlander's draining the warrior poet's power. We need to stop him and get that damned staff. How should I know? That's not a skill the Tribunal teaches. Return to Barrelzar's tower and get Sothasil's former apprentice to come up with some kind of countermeasure. I'm sure he knows more than he's told you. I do have one concern, though. You see right through me, Outlander. I have more worries than a Kwama queen has eggs. I'm talking about Chodala's sister. Saren claims to want to help, to want peace, but I don't trust her. Seek out Barrelzar, but be wary of the Ashlander's sister. We need to stop Chodala, and to do that, we need to find a way to overcome the device he's wielding. Find Barrelzar and make sure that crazy mage provides you with something we can use to save Lord Vivek. Is the bull sure it can bed the Betty? No. But by all accounts, we'll be better off with Sunara in our hands and away from Chodala. That won't be possible, however, as long as the Ashlander remains impervious to every attack. The female Ashlander? Well, if that wasn't enough of a reason, remember that she's also Chodala's sister. Blood sings to blood, as the warrior poet so elegantly put it. Vivek loves this land, and the land loves him in return. He's always had a special bond with Vardenfell. Is it so hard to believe that Red Mountain reflects his suffering? Beyond that, Lord Vivek's intervention stopped the moonlit from crashing into the city. He holds it above us by strength of will. But as he weakens, so too does the power that keeps the rock afloat. If Vivek's energy wanes further,
well.
Be wary, traveler. Pilgrims have been attacked on these roads. Should you encounter violence, don't hesitate to call on us. We're here to protect you. I hope your confidence is merited. We have our hands full with the Dreg and the Ashlanders, so rescues are in short supply. Captain Artesia Naros is at the canton of Mola Gmar. She can tell you more than I. Safe travels.
Is someone up there? I could use some help down here. Hurry, please. I have a natural aversion to Daedra. So hard to concentrate and maintain schedules when interruptions constantly occur. Don't they know the great gear never pauses in its rotations? So that was you up there. I appreciate the assistance. Daedra. Logic has very little place in the behavior of Daedra, my hopeful associate. Studying the fabric of reality does tend to attract unwanted attention, but these creatures appeared just before you entered my tower. I wonder, why have you returned? Ah, a modification of my master's old experiments, turning a simple tool into a dangerous weapon. Ingenious! Evil, yes, but also quite brilliant. A tonal inverter should counter it. Uses sound waves to temporarily disrupt the flow of energy. No, of course not. I just invented it. I need proper components to build such a device. My hirelings scour the land for materials all the time. Here's a list. Head out the back door and ask them to direct you to these common dwarven components. Hirelings? Yes, they worked for me, before they quit, ungrateful netches. Still, I paid them well before the pistons slipped their alignments. They should know where to find the components. Last I heard, Snorfen and the others were in Molagmar. The situation is wound dangerously tight, but I believe the gears revolve around you. Once you leave, I should be perfectly safe. Or at least as safe as I ever am in the midst of all these experiments. You, however, I could, but I won't pour 5-year-old Flynn into a cracked decanter. No offense. Suffice it to say, they're fairly common as far as Dwemer components go. Use the list and talk to my former hirelings.
I feel like such a puny snowback, hiding here in Molagmar. But you don't want to hear about my troubles. What can this broken Nord do for you? Berylzar. He's the reason I'm a shattered man, doomed to become a cowering sheep like the rest of these pilgrims. All right, let me see that. Arkanthong Stordoms. You can find a Sonance generator there. after you deal with the steam trap. The cursed contraption. I almost had it figured out when a ghost floated up to me. No problem, I think. But then it enters a Centurion. Ghost machines. No sane Nord can fight ghost machines. I dropped my notes and ran as fast as I could. Not just ghosts. Ghosts that possess dwarven machines. I'm through working for that crazy old mage and his clockwork monstrosities. But if you want to get past the steam trap, find my notes and follow the directions.
If you're another pilgrim looking for charity, I suggest you move along. I have neither the time to waste nor the gold to spare. I'm currently between employment, and my own funds have become dangerously depleted. Let me see that. What's that crazy mage need this time? I suppose you could find a manual clockwork shaft in the Nichuleft ruins. But I'd avoid that place if I were you. If the roof doesn't collapse, the constructs will rip you apart. If you insist. Deep in the ruins churns a big machine. When I was there, it sputtered and vibrated, collapsing parts of the ceiling. Lava and rock fell everywhere. You need to get past that and some nasty constructs to retrieve the item. That mage is a menace. Oh, he always paid well, but the places he asked me to go, each was more dangerous than the last. And if I had to hear about the Great Gear one more time... For my own health and sanity, I had to break ties with Barrelzar.
If you're passing through, pay attention. I'll say this once. Pilgrims who ignore my warning, vanish from the roads by morning. Whether you're from near or far, best keep your arse at Molag Mar. I find it best to put official notice in verse. Helps people remember, and reminds them buoyant arbingers aren't ordinators. Nobody wants to talk to them, even other ordinators. Now, if I could get someone to tell me who's attacking these pilgrims. If you're offering. I suspect Ashlanders are behind the disappearances, but I don't have the numbers to chase them off. Avoid killing the Ashlanders unless they give you no choice. I don't. Vivek's finest, fleet and fit, besting heretic by sword, an ordinator by wit. Sworn to live a life of noble grace, except to laugh in danger's face. And sometimes we quammer wrangle groups of pilgrims. Warrior poets are quite versatile.
What a terror, what savage speech. Oh, to be like you. Your temper glares at the smallest offense. You snatch our guards and mangle our fence.
Damned vampires. I'll find a way to make them pay for what they did to my brother. I swear it on the tribunal and any Daedra willing enough to listen. What do you want? Can't you leave a person to her anger and her grief? He did he? Let me see that list. Well, the crazy old mage always said there were no coincidences. The inversion conduit. I saw one in Galome Deus, right before I barely escaped from those damned vampires. Eager to become cattle for the bloodsuckers? The Burn clan killed my brother. Damn their eyes. The item you seek was in the manufactory, but you'll need a control rod to get a dwarven spider to unlock it for you. Because the mage wanted to send me to the far side of Vardenfell, and I need to remain here. I'm not going anywhere until I make the Burn clan pay for what it did to my brother. If you can kill
You stink like you've got old fish in your craw. Your shriek shatter glass and rattle my ears. Your rotten fig smell brings grown mare to tears. You piss on our pillows, they smell bad for years. Your Vardenfell's pride and joy. Cliff Strider, stride so high. On fiery crags, you touch the sky. Cliff Strider, stride so high. Screech loud as thunder. May you never die.
You there! Help! Destroy those Daedra before it's too late!
I am a free egg sister from Black Marsh, here to make a business and prosper. Robbery and murder. It happens to people more often than you think. They said I could make a... robbery and murder. They said I...
Bugs and mushrooms as big as houses and guaranteed to scare the stripes off a kitten. This one doesn't know what in the name of Jon and Jode the Dark Elves were thinking when they decided to live in this bizarre land. This one doesn't know.
I'll be at this a while.
What do you want?
This is bad. This is very. You look well-traveled, friend. Are you, by chance, going to Sadrith Mora? I can make it worth your while. Opportunity? Or that's what I thought, until I angered de Fair by failing to deliver the special mushrooms he ordered on time. Lost the shipment. Now I'm in a bind. I have the mushrooms, but I'm afraid Fair will evaporate me for late delivery. You aren't at fault for the late delivery, so Fair shouldn't do anything to you. Won't do anything to you, I mean. I guarantee it. Besides, I'll let you keep the payment he owes me as well. I'd rather avoid the situation altogether at this point. You're saving my life here, friend. I don't dare...
If it were up to me, Vivec City would only be for the Dark Elves. Farther away? That's probably a good idea. I can take you as far as Nisus or Telmora. Do either of those locations interest...
For the 80th time, help is on the way. I've received assurances from House Redoran. They will handle this trouble in the mine. You need only... I presume you've come here seeking work? I'm afraid the mine may be closed for some time yet. Not too long, of course. Some of our egg hands have fallen ill. We've elected to keep them in the mines until we find the source of the sickness. Just a precaution, mind you. Surveyors from... Trapped? No, don't be absurd. It's not as if they're itching to leave. Look, House Redoran will sort this out. Speak to Foreman Lothdar if you have...
Wait, don't shut me out. I have different songs I can sing. Think of the miners. Damned fanatics. They've no respect for the craft.
Have you only just arrived, or was this you returning? You can't always keep the cogs and pistons in line. Ah, I remember. The components for the tonal inverter. Were you able to acquire them? Impressive. I thought I'd never see you again. That's what usually happens when I employ hirelings to acquire rare and exotic items from dangerous locations. Well, the great gear doesn't dawdle, neither do I. Hand them over and I'll get to work. One tonal inverter coming up. This, tighten the spring. Don't explode. Almost done. There. Do you like it, my latest creation? I call it the tonal inverter. Did I mention that already? No matter. It should counteract Sotha Seal's modified staff, at least momentarily. I assume you know... Of course you don't. I just invented it. Honestly. You won't use it anyway, not if you plan to fight the one who wields Sotha Seal's staff. Almost impossible to operate the tonal inverter while also engaged in battle. It's too cumbersome. The Sunara, the Blessed Staff? I suppose the name fits, sort of. You'll need someone to assist you, someone you trust. Oh, not me. Too busy, too fragile. Using the tonal inverter is definitely a two-person activity. Easy as scrib jelly pie. One person operates the controls to generate the sound waves. When it reaches the proper pitch, you activate the inverter and just...
presence defiles the city, Ashlander. How dare you demand to see our god?
I'm here to help. If you won't listen to me, listen to the Outlander.
Thank the three. The Outlander has returned. Was Barrelzar able to help us? Pay no attention to this Ashlander. She's been blathering on about Lord Vivek's condition and how she can help, but I'm certain it's a trick of some sort. I was just about to have her thrown out of the city, or possibly tossed to the slaughterfish. I know who she is. I still don't trust her, and I refuse to let her anywhere near Lord Vivek. Who knows what an Ashlander would do while the warrior poet is in such a fragile state? A total what now? Well, since I can't go with you, but with Lord Vivek requiring my undivided attention, I suppose we'll have to let the Ashlander assist you. Very well. Take her and defeat Chodola. Then bring me a staff so we can restore Vivek.
If that old idiot is what passes for a tribunal leader, it's no wonder the houses are in such disarray. No time to dwell on that, though. I found my brother, and it's worse than I feared. Chodola's quest for power has led him down a dark path. Chodola and his most loyal followers have taken refuge in a ruin called Kaushtarari. It's an ancient shrine devoted to the Daedric prince Malakath. I think my brother plans to ask the God of Curses to help him. It will allow us to stop Chodola? Then of course I'll help you. Since the Tribunal's dogs took my weapons, I'll need to replace them. Meet me at the ruins when you're ready.